From student to CEO. The story of Steve Jobs and the birth of Apple. A curious beginning. Steve Jobs was not born into wealth or comfort. He was adopted as a baby and raised by a working-class family in California. His parents were not rich, but they taught him something important: to love learning, to respect craftsmanship, to never stop being curious. As a child, Steve liked taking things apart. He wanted to understand how machines worked. Sometimes he broke them. Sometimes he made them better. Even early on, Steve was different. The student who didn't fit in Steve Jobs went to college, but not for long. He studied at Reed College, but he felt uncomfortable with the system. Classes felt expensive, rules felt restrictive. So Steve dropped out, but here's the important part. He didn't stop learning. Steve continued attending classes that interested him, especially calligraphy. At the time, it seemed useless. Years later, that single class would change computer design forever. The garage that changed the world after college. Steve met Steve Wozniak, a brilliant engineer. Wozniak could build computers. Steve could imagine the future. Together, they started working in a small garage. They didn't want computers just for scientists. They wanted computers for people. This idea was revolutionary. In 1976, they built the Apple I. Soon after came the Apple II, one of the first personal computers for the public. Apple grew fast, very fast. Success, power, and a false Steve Jobs became a CEO at a young age. He was passionate. He was demanding. He wanted perfection, sometimes too much perfection. As Apple grew, conflicts grew too. Board members questioned his leadership style. Then something shocking happened. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he created. He was only 30 years old. Many thought his story was over. They were wrong. Failure that became fuel. Being fired hurt Steve deeply. But failure didn't stop him, it refined him. He started a new company called Next. He also bought a small animation studio. That studio later became Pixar. Steve was learning again. This time patience. Meanwhile, Apple struggled without him. The return of a visionary. In 1997, Apple made a bold move. They brought Steve Jobs back. Apple was close to collapse. Steve simplified everything. Too many products. Too much confusion. He focused on design, on experience, on simplicity. Then came the products that changed history. The products that changed everything. First, the iMac. Colorful, friendly, simple. Then, the iPod. 1,000 songs in your pocket. Music was no longer tied to CDs. Then, in 2007, came the moment that changed the world. The iPhone. No keyboard, touchscreen, internet in your hand. People didn't just buy it. They lined up for it. The iPhone wasn't just a phone. It was a computer, a camera, and a music player combined. Apple didn't just sell products. It sold experiences. The legacy of a student who never stopped learning. Steve Jobs believed something simple. Technology should be beautiful. Simple, human, he once said. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. Steve Jobs started as a student who didn't fit in. He failed. He was fired, but he never stopped believing in ideas. He didn't just build Apple. He changed how the world communicates. The lesson for English learners and everyone. Steve Jobs' story teaches us: you don't need a perfect start. You don't need permission. You need curiosity and courage. From a college dropout to a global CEO, his journey proves that one idea can change everything. End.